AJ the CEO here, and we are at Union Branch Baptist Church, and we're going to be doing an on-site to help them out. I think they were talking mainly about their audio system, but possibly going into video as well too. So it looks like some folks just got here. Let me go ahead and take y'all along. We document it, and you know what we do. At the end, we're going to put it in some type of format using Draw.io to design what exactly they're looking for to see if we can help them out. And we go from there. So let's get inside. And thank you for the invite.
Yes, sir. And I'm pastor of the church, Brother West.
All right.
Call me Lee.
So you know what we're going to do? We're here at Union Branch. We're going to be talking through, and again, I do this mainly for me so I can remember exactly what's going on. So we're looking at enhancing the audio in here, replacing a lot of their mics, thinking about going with a digital board. I am persuading between, well, they're going to make the final decision whether we're going to do a X32 rack mount or a actual console, maybe a compact, because this is where their sound system is right now. This is actually the same type of system that Epworth United Methodist had. So we're counting out their channels, around 12 channels here. Don't think we're going to be changing out any speakers or anything like that, but we're going to be adding some additional wireless mics. This whole piece is going to maybe go with an X32 rack mount, or maybe a compact, or even a producer if we want to get smaller. So I'm mainly documenting this so I can see how many channels we got, and we're going to add about 8 wireless mics, new wireless mics, and we're also going to we got to change out and get some different heads for the mics to hold there. And then also, they're currently using a projector, and they're projecting out this area. Was talking with them, maybe putting a 75-inch screen here with a wireless HDMI so that it can be controlled, and then maybe even throwing in an A10 Mini Extreme, which will allow them to, because they're using Google Slides for presentations, talk to them about Presenter by Worship Extreme so they can have their scripture already embedded. They have a camera, thinking about putting the camera in the back because they're using a Canon R800 right now. Now the unique thing is, this was brought to my attention, that this church is in the exact same layout as Liberty Baptist Church, because the person who built Liberty Baptist Church built this church. So it's the exact same footprint, which is really cool. So I suggested to them to go and see what that has looked like so it can give them some ideas. But what we want to do is just like we did at Liberty, they have a TV downstairs. We want to feed the camera downstairs. So the idea is to have a 20X PTZ in the back, have the joystick here. With the X32 rack, it can be controlled from an iPad, or have the console so that can be controlled. But the main thing is to simplify and marry all of their systems together so it's easy to maintain and function and operate. So if we went with this with an ATEM here, they can have the laptop go through here, control that, which will also feed downstairs audio and sound and everything like that. And really excited about that. So let's go ahead and cut over to the computer, and then we're gonna do a design to show you exactly how everything will work out. Alrighty, folks, we are back. So let's go ahead and cut over here to Draw.io, and let's do this design. Now, I'm gonna do the overarching thing as if every bell and whistle was selected in this install, but this is most likely going to be broken down for them in phases, and I'm going to do my best to try and highlight what I would do in phase if we split it that way. So let's go ahead and cut over to the computer. And new design, Union Branch. Alrighty, so the main thing is they want to upgrade their sound and get better mics. Based on what I've seen, I am not going to mention changing out any speakers. I specifically asked if that's a concern. They did not mention that, so we're going to go with that. But because of what we're going to do, it's going to set them up very simply if they want to add more speakers. We're talking about monitors or floor wedges for the pulpit, for the musicians. You know, we have a bunch of options, but I am going to consider that this install is not replacing any speakers in any way, shape, or form. All right, so first we're going to start off with, and this is what I'm actually looking at getting for my studio as well, is the X32 rack mount. Now, if I had my choice, I would actually get maybe the compact and have it in a desk, but they don't really have a media booth area right now. So that's what I'm just going to go with right now. But ultimately, if I had the choice, like I said, this would be an alternative. I would do this as, I don't know why it made it so big. As an alternative, this would be a X32 compact. Don't need a full board, doesn't have the space for that. But it gives us all the same functionality, but this one is the rack mount. All of the adjustments are going to be done from a computer over the network or from an iPad, which I think I did not mention to them, the laptop part, but we're good. There is another laptop in the system. So we're also going to do a bunch of 8 wireless mics because they want to go completely wireless on all their mics. I can't recall the brand right now that I know my friend Jay Kyle recommended as well. So those are the ones that I'm going to use. It was made by some engineers that were with Shure. So I think those are the ones I'm going to go with. So we're going to do 8 wireless mics. There's no need for a snake or anything like that. So we're just going to unplug the 12 channels that they got, plug in to the X32, and we'll be good to go. All right. So we're going to connect that here. And we're going to look at getting a halo for the pastor as well as a regular mic for them, handheld mic as well. But in total, they said 5, but we're just going to go ahead and get 8, have 3 extras just in case. Now, with all the speakers and everything like that, like, again, we're not touching any of that. We're literally just going to take the rack mount system that they have out and then put the new one in place and map everything and then tweak it, set an environment, a matrix for downstairs, as well as what's going on in the house. And I might even make one for the live stream in the future, even though they're currently not live streaming inside the sanctuary. Now, believe it or not, that's really it originally. But then we started talking about some other things as well, too. And we're talking about, the pastor was saying that everything is kind of separated and he wants to bring everything together. And that's what we're all about. So right now they have a projector and they are using a blank space on the wall right now to do lyrics, scripture, notes from his sermon. So I'm thinking about doing a 75-inch, 4K TV on that front wall. And then, because they're using a Canon R800 right now, and thinking about getting them a PTZ camera, just start with one, put that in the back, and that would be a 20X. And we need to have a joystick. For right now, we're going to put that in the same room as this. And we're going to get a PoE switch, maybe just a 4-port one, that will send power to the joystick, also give us connections to our rack, maybe even put a Wi-Fi access point so we can enhance the Wi-Fi if it's weak in the area. They said the Wi-Fi is fine. I didn't get a chance to test it, obviously, but we got something in place here. So we'll have this, and AJ, you're skipping your coloring. What is going on? So that's all connected. And then thinking about, honestly, a A10 Mini Extreme, but this is the one time, and I really don't want to do this, I would go with a A10 Mini Pro, just so that even in this back space, they don't have a dedicated space, but when they start getting this stuff, you're going to need a dedicated space. So the A10 Mini extreme will set them up in the future so that if they ever want to add any other stuff, it's already there. They also have a TV downstairs. And I think I said that this church is in the exact same blueprint as Liberty Baptist Church. And this is the same thing that Liberty Baptist Church did about a year and a half ago. So they're right behind them. And actually on my way home, I actually passed Liberty Baptist Church, which was very interesting. You know, we're going to have an HDMI splitter here. And we need a laptop because that's what they already have. Oh, making a laptop too small. So what we're going to do is have the camera connected over HDMI right now. We have an HDMI for the laptop as well. I told them about Presenter. That will help them maybe make that a lot more streamlined because they're using Google Slides. They can still use Google Slides with Presenter, but it will save them from having to type up the scripture since you can just search for the scripture there. So we got 2 inputs right now, which will save them, which saves them 6 more in the future. I would do a 32X for the multi-view that we'll just mount on the wall in there. That'll be our HDMI out number 1. That's too close. I can't get in here to change the color. All right, and then HDMI number 2 is gonna go here, which will split and feed both of these TVs. The one downstairs and in the front. That way now when they run a presentation here, it can go out, goes to the TVs. And also, I didn't do this, by us having our system here. See, I hate it when I actually do my stuff and it looks all nice and neat. And then all of a sudden now I got to move stuff out of the way. But because of this, we'll run a dual XLR out to 3.5, which will send house sound into the ATEM. And then this will also allow them, because they're doing a lot of recording right now, just to have an SSD connected. And then that would give them the recording of everything, the audio and video. All right. This will be connected over network. So this will be an IP based one. I mean, I could get a regular joystick since there's only one, and then just run that RJ45 to RS232, and it'll just be one Ethernet cable goes here. And then again, big shout out. I forgot the person who was telling me about the cables that I have, which I did not know. I have some Cable Matters cable that says it is rated for PoE. So thank you for that. I do listen to y'all. Never really noticed that, it said it on the bottom of the box in small text. Not recommended for PoE. So thankfully, if I do have any issues, I can always go to the 2 or 3 of the churches that I did that. And because I looked back over my other cables and it just happened to be those ones I did. So thank you again for letting me know that. And I think this is the whole system. So now in that room, this would control everything. This would also be connected to the network, the ATEM. And I think they said their internet is too slow to support it, but you know, we could use the other USB out connected to a hotspot and they could live stream. So I think that's pretty cool. We will have to go into the attic, but to run just the cables, these 2 cables in the back, I should move this right here and say this is downstairs TV. So we would run these two cables through the ceiling. This one would come down through a conduit on the wall, just like we did at Liberty Baptist Church. It would go downstairs. Then I did SDI. I will have SDI just in case if we have any issues with the fiber HDMI cable. That was one. And then the last couple of times I have not had it. So I'm still going to go with them right now, but I do have a contingency. I will have some converters here, two SDI to HDMI converters here, and then another HDMI to SDI here, because we only got two TVs. It has two outs, so that can feed that. So we have some contingency plans if we have an issue, and actually it needs to be three, because we can run an SDI from this camera and go back to the system. But that's what I'm thinking. Now, if we were going to do this, let's save this. And then let's save this again. And I would call this maybe phase one. All right. So in phase one, what we would do is completely remove the ATEM, the multi-view, a lot of this stuff. So instead, what we would do is have a wireless HDMI, box that will be plugged into the TV, which will also, I thought I copied it, that will allow the laptop to be connected to it here. So no wires need to be done, but we would still go with the TV. So that would get rid of the projector. Hard drive, the camera in the back, and really none of this would be done. But they do want to run video downstairs. So pretty much that makes me sit back and think I would need to have a jack on the wall that has a direct connection, a HDMI connection that we feed into the wall. So HDMI jack, and it'll be in some strategic location, so when they have a camera it would just connect and be routed downstairs. Actually, I need to think. So how we would do that is just like we did at Liberty Baptist Church. We would need to have this audio come out of this board, and I have, actually I was getting ready to turn my green screen around so you can see it, but I still have a audio injector which will take audio from 1/4 inch and embed it into a SDI signal. So this wouldn't be, this would be a SDI to HDMI. That's what this would be. And then we would need to route our audio in a certain way to where we're embedding our video into this. That's audio embed. And then say they have a camera. We would need to take that, convert it over to SDI. I know, a pain, right? So this would be HDMI to SDI. So this would come into here. Let's get this up out of the way. Then SDI would come out of here. And then that is ran downstairs. And then we convert it back. So this could easily be done if this was a PTZ. You can still do the same thing. You can control it. That's an option as well too. The best thing about that is we really wouldn't need to embed the audio. We could just plug the audio right into the camera and go to a 3.5 millimeter instead, and everything could be there. So this is an option right here. But by doing this, this video cannot be shown on this TV in any way, shape, or form in this type of setup. All right. So if we did something to where we actually did a PTZ,
what we would do is just have the SDI, or actually at this point, we wouldn't even really need the SDI. We could do Ethernet, not Ethernet, AJ, HDMI, excuse me, could come out of here. We would just connect the audio to the input of this camera, which they do have, and then that would be fed back. And then we need to have another connection to this camera to give it power. And this will be the PoE switch will be connected to the rack, the surge protector and power strip that's already in there. So when you hit that, it turns on the joystick, turns on the camera, turns on everything. All right. And that makes it really simple because we can just run this cable directly from the camera downstairs. That's all that needs to be done. We've run a Ethernet cable from here. And then honestly, I would probably run another Ethernet cable and send the audio over a shielded Ethernet cable and convert it back to 3.5 and connect it directly to the camera. Then that way we're only pulling 2 cables in the ceiling and they're both Ethernet. Really simple. So that would be a phase 1 approach. Now, like I said, we're not touching any audio. So the fact that we do this, all of the speakers will exist. We're not touching anything. And maybe a phase 2, if they're not happy, we might change out the speakers, do put some additional speakers downstairs or something like that, or ultimately come back and do the system. So that is what I would do. So link is going to be down below to everything that we do. And, you know, if we get the contract, you know, we're going to be taking you along with us and show you all the details of how it gets put together from beginning to end and see the results of everything after it. So thank you so much, Union Branch, for the invite to come out there. I'm going to be creating this as an estimate and sending this to them, and then we'll be going from there. So if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we will see you on the next video. Later.